Hey folks, following my last video on WordPress development with Cursor AI, I've been hands-on with the tool for a few weeks now, diving deep into the docs so you don't have to. And I believe I've uncovered some killer tricks along the way. So today, I'm going to share my top tips to bulletproof your WordPress development using Cursor AI. Let's dive in. My name's Elliot Richmond, I like to play guitar, eat pizza and drink coffee. I also make videos for YouTube based on WordPress and WordPress development. So if this is up your street, do consider subscribing, and if you like this video at the end, please do give it a thumbs up. Code base indexing. Now when you open up any project, the first thing to do is to check that your code base has been indexed properly. So if you're on a Mac, press Shift Command P, or if you're on a PC, press Shift Control P. This will open up the command palette and then you can search for Cursor Settings. And under the Features section, scroll down and ensure that your code base indexing has completed. By default, indexing starts automatically when you open up a project. However, if you've changed any files, pulled any Git repos, or added plugins, you might want to refresh the index. Another important consideration, if you're working with other Git repos that might contain many files that don't need indexing, such as node modules, you can customize the indexing behavior. Open up the settings and set up an ignore file. And this works very similar to a Git ignore file. If you want to ignore vendor files or node modules, you can specify them in the settings. And this will simply create what's known as a cursor ignore file. 2 ways to interact with Cursor AI Chat. Now, there are 2 ways to interact with Cursor AI Chat. Normal chat submission. You can submit normal chat queries, but this approach is better suited for generic topics, like what you might want for lunch, and typically this will return a generic answer. Codebase submission. Assuming you have submitted your codebase for indexing, you can ask more detailed questions about your specific code. For instance, if you wanted to know more about the WordPress login action hook, you could say, let's talk about the WP login action hook. Then, by submitting the query to your code base, rather than normal chat, Cursor AI will interrogate your code base and provide you with an understanding of what the WP login hook does in WordPress. You'll notice that the files it examines changes color during this process, allowing you to further investigate the source of the information it provides. This approach ensures you get more relevant and contextual answers tailored to your specific project rather than generic information. 2 modes for interacting with the composer. Now, there are 2 distinct ways to interact with the composer in Cursor. Normal mode. This mode is ideal for making small, precise changes to your code. It's particularly useful for making singleton changes, refinement of code, or precision adjustments to single files. Agent mode. This mode utilizes a larger AI model designed for handling more complex tasks, such as structuring an entire plugin or designing a comprehensive solution. A typical workflow might involve using agent mode to structure a specific plugin for a particular purpose, then switching to normal mode to make more precise adjustments or add additional files to the structure. This 2-mode approach gives you the flexibility to choose the right tool for different coding scenarios, using agent mode for the bigger picture work and normal mode for fine-tuning and detailed modifications. It's important to note that when you create a new chat or choose a mode in the composer, that conversation remains persistent throughout the entire conversational exchange. This means that the mode you select at the beginning will be used for all subsequent messages in that chat thread. Because of this persistence, it's crucial to ensure you choose the appropriate mode from the outset based on what you're trying to accomplish. If you want to avoid any hallucinogenics, you may need to start a new conversation with the desired mode. This is a key consideration for efficiently working in Cursor, as selecting the wrong mode initially could limit the effectiveness of your interaction with the AI, or it may not perform as well as you expected. Cursor rules has evolved. Prior to January 23rd or version 0.45, Cursor rules were added as a single file, and you could visit cursor.directory to get specific rules by other developers. However, since version 0.45, there's a more effective way of adding Cursor rules that gives the AI a better understanding of your code base. So how do you access the rules? Well, there are 2 ways to access this feature. You press Shift Command P on a Mac or Shift Control P on a PC, and this will open the command palette. Then type new cursor rule and run through the prompt. Alternatively, you can go directly to Cursor Settings, then in General Settings under Project Rules, click Add New Rule. So how are they stored? Well, when you add a rule, you'll notice that there's an invisible folder called .cursor that's added to your project. And contained within this folder is a subfolder called Rules. And this is where all your rules will be stored. And creating effective rules is quite important. So when you add a rule, give your rule file a meaningful name. This file will be stored in the cursor/rules folder, and files are generally in Markdown format, but it doesn't really matter. What is important is that you always include a description for your rule. Without a description, Cursor won't recognize it as a defined rule. Then there's structuring your rules. You can set up a project with a generic rule base and then reference more specific rules. To do this, create an initial general rule in the Markdown, then reference other rules or specific files from your code base using the @ symbol. Now, this hierarchical approach allows you to have general rules while pointing to more specific ones. By organizing your rules in this way, as you add them to your rules folder, Cursor AI will develop a more comprehensive concept and overview of your code base, allowing it to assist you more intelligently. And you can version control these rules. Now, because these rules are file-based, they can be version controlled. As you add more rules over time, you can commit them to a repository. This will allow you to share rule sets across projects or with other team members. It also provides a history of how your rules have changed or evolved over time. Using inline chat with Cursor AI. You can chat directly inline with Cursor AI about specific parts of your code by using Command K on a Mac, Control K on a PC. This inline chat feature allows you to interact with Cursor AI right at the specific line or section of code you're working with. This functionality is particularly useful in several scenarios. Function interrogation. If you encounter a function and aren't sure what it does, you can use inline chat to ask Cursor AI what that function is for. Exploring parameters. When you're unaware of the parameters or options available in a function definition or a piece of code that requires a certain option, you can activate inline chat and get immediate information about what that function is expecting in terms of parameters. Granular code questions. This feature is ideal for quick consultation about specific granular elements of your code without having to switch context or start a new general chat. Applying documentation. If you're like me and you forget to add documentation to a function or element of your code you wrote previously, you can ask Cursor AI to write that doc block for you. It will intelligently include any parameters that are passed to that function. As long as Cursor AI understands your code base, it will handle all of the tedious documentation tasks that you might have forgotten to do. Now, this approach is extremely efficient when you need targeted assistance with a particular code segment rather than a broader discussion about the whole project. So there you have it. These are just a few tips that will instantly improve your WordPress development workflow with Cursor AI. Have your own tricks? Drop them in the comments below. I'd love to see what others are doing with this tool. If you found this helpful, hit the thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. I'm Elliot Richmond, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.